One of the other issues in terms of those dynamics was, and concern of the versus strategics, and I guess a shareholder component as well has to be considered in this. I guess a recent experience was that the reverse breakup fees, that were offered in some of these transactions seem to have been too small relative to the optionality that many of these companies have obtained. So I think, in terms of how things have to shift over time, as a buyer, I think the expectation is that it's going to have to be more risk, perhaps, on the private equity side versus strategics, if in fact they are going face to face and in a public environment. It's something that has to be considered going forward. And I think the whole source of disclosure issues. Typically the loan documents have not been publicly available in the proxy materials, unless it's a true going private transaction or a tender offer situation. When the financings became available, the SEC has taken a very, in our mind, docile position, with respect to that disclosure. If there were theoretically no financing outs, then we really don't have to know what the true loan documents look like. So I think that's a change that, is likely to occur, going forward as well.
So does that mean you're saying you're expecting some shareholder resistance to buyouts on public deals, public to private deals?
Well, as a firm, we're sort of conflicted. On one hand, so we've got an event-driven arbitrage hat, and the other side, we have an opportunity fund, and we're buyers. But I just think it's realistically, this has been a difficult period for investors in companies, and they've seen quick shifts. In sentiment, and I think Matt made a real point that it's been the commercial banks who have been, at one point in time, were throwing capital at unusually great terms to the private equity players, and it appears from the outside anyway that it was sort of a mad scramble to find targets while this unusual level of financing was available, and and the sponsors acted rationally under the circumstances. But getting a second look, I guess the dynamics have shifted a little bit, and there is some sort of cynicism, skepticism on part of the market, with respect to those transactions, and winks and nods, and then termination of transactions. So I think realistically, that is going to be part of the dynamic going forward as well.